Hello, good morning. I hope that you're all well. It's been another very hot week in the UK. The temperatures we're seeing are just, well, they're off the chart for this country. I said to Ray last night, if we get another summer like this, we're going to have air conditioning put in. I am melting. The clothes I've been wearing this week are the clothes that I normally take on holiday when we go places like, the Caribbean, loose fitting cotton clothes. The dogs have really suffered in this heat. They're sleeping a lot, they're stretching out on stone floors trying to get cool. And, we haven't been out walking, for a long time now. What we do with the dogs is that when the sun goes down, we take them down to the beach and they get to play in the sea. And, they really, really enjoy that. And, they get to see other dogs and they have great ball games with other dogs on the beach. So bless them. Bertie's just lying there, flaked out in the heat. Okay, so because I haven't been walking and because it's been very, very hot to do anything outside, I've actually been doing a lot of stitching, and I really feel this week my needles have been flying. Now, last week I showed you that I had finished Dorothy's first sampler. So after this video, I'm going to be lacing her. I've got the backing board, I've chosen the frame, and I'm going to get her onto that backing board. The same for Dorothy number 2. There's her second sampler already. There is a third sampler, but I had to wait for a different count of fabric to come for that one, which has now arrived, but I don't want to start it because I actually started another project, which I'll show you. I will do that one after I finish the current one. But before I started my current whip, I did want to make a little front for a needle case I'm making for myself. So I stitched this on a scrap of fabric that was left over from the other project, and it says with needle and thread, and that's going to make a really lovely little front for my needle case book. I then started this project, which is a Scottish sampler. It's entirely in red. It uses cross stitch over 2, back stitch and some Algerian eyelets. It's a long, thin one, and this cut off from the piece of fabric I was using for Dorothy is perfect. This border is really lovely. It's a row of cross stitch, then a line of back stitch, then you've got the pattern, a line of back stitch, and then you've got the cross stitch again. And this, though it might not show in this video, this is actually sitting really proudly on the linen, and it's very sort of textural. I'm really pleased with how this is looking. I don't like it when my thread sinks into the linen. For me, embroidery is something that should sit on the surface of the linen. This border, it meets in the middle, and this little girl has stitched it into a heart. So I have my double heart needle minder for this project, and I'm using my red scissors and my red case for this. Really, really pleased. She squidged a border in there. She went wrong. I think that probably on this one, she started here, worked her way round, and when she got back, she was wrong, so she just improvised. She used her cognoscities. That's what my father used to say. If you thought out of the box, you used your cognoscities. And yeah, I'm really enjoying working on this sampler, and I love this linen. Although it looks very grungy and maybe yucky to some people, when you actually stitch over it, it starts to add, or it gives a sampler soul. You add age, and I don't know, a sampler really comes to life when it's stitched on what is aged fabric. Love, love, love this. Looks really effective. Now this sampler, it's very interesting. I had a look on Ancestry for the girl, and this sampler is one of two. It's a mother and a daughter sampler. That's the mother sampler that she stitched when she was a young girl, but we've also got a sampler that her daughter stitched as a young girl as well. So researching the family, I came across a family tree for this family, and in fact there's several family trees on Ancestry for this family, and there was some very interesting information. Now I have not verified this information, and you know, Ancestry is wonderful, but when you go onto the family trees and you see records attached, you can't always trust that. You have to do your own research to see if that is correct. But attached to this girl's family tree is some very interesting information about her grandfather. And her grandfather was James Anderson, and her grandmother was Helen Anderson, and they are buried 75 yards from the foundations of the original White House. Just blow this up so I can see it. James Anderson and his wife sailed to the United States and well, I suppose I should say America, because it wasn't the United States. So they sailed to America and landed in Norfolk, Virginia in 1790. And Mr. Anderson was for several years employed at Mount Vernon and was a trusted friend of Washington and was present at his death in 1799. What else this week? Well, this week I had a book come, Trace, The Embroidered Art of Michelle Carragher. And when I was mentioning in previous Flosstubes how I've been enjoying Game of Thrones, a needleworker let me know about this book. Like Michelle Carragher, she's an embroiderer, and she's worked as a costume embroiderer in the film and TV industry, and she was involved with the costumes on Game of Thrones. And this book, the last chapter, has a section on her work in Game of Thrones, and you know, her work is absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that embroidery. Now, I've been absolutely obsessed with Game of Thrones. I watched 73 episodes straight off. I binge watched. And one of the things that caught my eye were the costumes. I always look at costumes when I am watching TV productions. And I was so taken with the costumes in Game of Thrones. But of course, you can't really see things close up. So it was really lovely to learn about this book and to be able to study this book. My favourite costume, let me just stop. Look at that. Isn't that magnificent? Like, not only the workmanship, but the imagination to design something like this. Now, this was my favourite costume. It was Cersei's costume that she wore when she when she was queen and she was leading her people. And I just think this is just so impressive. Look at the expression that's been achieved. Amazing. Look at that. If you are interested in embroidery, and I don't mean counted cross stitch, I mean embroidery and design, this is a very, very interesting book. Obviously this lady, Michelle, she is a very gifted embroiderer and designer. Very, very beautiful. Look at that. Anyway, it's something for you to enjoy if you like Game of Thrones, or if you are into costume design or embroidery. Something else that I got or came this week was the Cross Stitcher magazine, their September edition. And if you turn to page 70, there's an article about Hands Across the Sea samplers. So that was really, really lovely to receive and to read. Yeah, so we made Cross Stitcher magazine. Yesterday I laced this sampler. Now this sampler was stitched by Linda Clues, my friend. Linda and I are going to the Attic Summer School together. And I laced this for her. Now this sampler is an amazing achievement. This is stitched entirely over one on 40 count linen. And this gives this sampler the same size as the original sampler, which was stitched over two on 80 count linen. Wonderful achievement. And Linda's stitching is, you know, just truly, truly very, very beautiful. So we're taking this with us to the attic, and this is going to be on display at the Attic Needleworks now for the next couple of months. So if you are in the Phoenix area, pop in and have a look at this. It is breathtaking, a wonderful achievement, really beautiful. It was a joy to sort of see this, and it's just really, really lovely. So delicate, very nice. Thank you to everybody who has purchased a copy of Fanny. She's been very, very popular. And in fact, we actually saw a finish of Fanny yesterday. Sharon, her needles have flown, and her Fanny is finished and ready for her to frame. The other little sampler I've got here is Emily Wildhoek, or Wildhack. In English we'd say wild hack. This little sampler, I've been having a lot of emails about asking why they can't see this on our website. Well, this little sampler was in the advent box that Teresa Vanetti, kitten stitcher, Shakespeare peddler, had last year. So the ones that you're seeing being stitched on social media were stitched by people who bought that advent box from Teresa. We will be releasing this sampler next year, but it was exclusive to Teresa for the 12 months from when she released her advent box. Very, very pretty sampler, and we have a lovely history on this one as well. So, you know, you will have the opportunity to stitch this sampler later on. Email this week about my Hardwick Manor hoop, and I was asked what size do I like to stitch with. Let's have a look. I've picked up a centimetre tape measure. It's 17.5 centimetres, so that's going to be just under 7 inches. Hardwick Manor hoops are really lovely. There's a lot of workmanship into this. They're so much stronger, more robust than, you know, the little flimsy hooks that you buy. And they come in different depths as well. So that's the one I like to use, 17.5 centimetres, which is, I'm sure it's just under 7 inches, but you'll be able to do a calculation using Google for 17.5 centimetres into inches. Another email I've received this week is about lights, and somebody was asking me, what light do I take when I travel? Well, these daylight Foldigo lamps are amazing. They come in a hard shell case, and that doesn't take up much room in a tote bag. You can plug it into the mains, so you have like a USB cable, you can plug it into the mains, or you can use that for charging. And basically it pops up and it turns around, and then, oh, you can change the intensity of the light as well. Then it's, you can extend it and you can put it at different angles. So that's quite useful. If you're at a retreat and you're working on your lap, you can put that on the table and have that coming over. Very, very useful lamp, and a really nice light as well. I used this light when I went to a retreat earlier in the year, and it actually lasted the whole day, which I was very impressed with. Now, I've actually found I've been using this light at home. I've sort of used it, well, yesterday when I was doing the lacing, I was working in the kitchen at the back of the house trying to find a cool spot, and I didn't want to put the overhead lights on to throw any heat into the room. So I literally sat in the room with this light on over my work, and because it was LED, there was no heat coming out of it. Found this very, very handy. These are also handy when you're staying in a hotel and you want to put your makeup on and there's no proper light to do so. These are very, very handy. Anyway, so daylight fold-y-go lamp is what I'll be taking with me when I go to the attic. On Tuesday. On Tuesday, I leave to travel to London. It's a 6-hour journey to the airport. Linda and I were staying the night before at a hotel attached to the airport. So in the morning, we literally just got to walk over a walkway straight into to the airport. I'm only taking carry-on luggage. So I'm not taking much with me. I'm trying to avoid all the problems with the luggage issues that Heathrow are having at the moment. Gosh, I can't wait. I am so, so excited. I've got everything ready to go. I've just got to put everything into my little case and my tote bag. Okay, the next video from me should be from summer school. I will post lots of photographs. So, you know, follow me on Instagram or Facebook on Hands Across the Sea Samplers, and I will be sharing updates of my travels to the States. And I hope to be back next Sunday with a Flosstube where I'm sure Melissa and Deborah and Linda, Justine and Roseanne will join me for a video. Until then, stay safe, stay well, bye-bye.